The sun was setting on the city of Baltimore, casting a golden hue over the skyline. The streets were bustling with people, and the smell of smoke filled the air. It was a typical day in the city, but for one man, it would be anything but ordinary. Welcome to Amazing Truth Channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new. Now go to the story. Ronnie was a poor black fireman living in Baltimore. He'd been working as a firefighter for years. He often felt ignored in a city that frequently overlooked its less fortunate citizens and had seen his fair share of tragedy. But nothing could have prepared him for what he was about to face that night. It started with a rumble in the distance, like thunder rolling in from far away. Then came the rain, pouring down from the sky in sheets. Soon enough, it became clear that this wasn't just a passing storm. It was a full-blown flood. It was a typical day in Baltimore when Ronnie received the call of a lifetime. A massive storm was approaching, and it would bring with it heavy rains and strong winds. Ronnie put out an emergency call for all available firefighters to help respond to what was rapidly becoming grim news of flooding in some of the city's poorest areas. Ronnie quickly reported for duty at the nearest fire station, and barely had time to smirk at the burly white men who pretended not to notice him, as always, before they were dispatched to help evacuate people from their homes. On that fateful day, the scene at Ground Zero was not pretty. People were desperately scrambling together whatever possessions they could salvage before rushing away or crying when those things couldn't be saved. The city was in chaos. It was like those movies one would watch on the big screen, except it was much more terrifying because it was real. Ronnie knew he had to act fast if he wanted to save as many lives as possible. He jumped into action, running through the streets and helping anyone he could find who needed help getting out of harm's way. Ronnie waded through fierce floodwaters up to his neck, fearlessly using himself as a shield between the raging waves and frightened children wherever he could find them, aware that this may be their only chance at life if they stayed put much longer. He worked tirelessly throughout the night, rescuing people from their homes and carrying them to safety on his back. Just when Ronnie thought he'd done all he could, he heard a faint cry coming from an alleyway nearby. He rushed over to investigate and found two small children huddled together in fear. These small fraternal twins were struggling against the current, and Ronnie quickly flung himself over them to guard against further onslaught of water, clutching them tightly under each arm. He sloshed forward determinedly while attempting to calm their fearful sobs echoing around them. Suddenly noticing one of them had no shoes on, Ronnie then moved even more swiftly than before, managing somehow not only to guide both little ones through various obscured straits, but also protectively shield their bare feet from all manner of sharp objects. While doing so, he held them when the water was too high or strong and had them walk when the passages and shortcuts he took were too narrow to fit the three of them. As he perched the two kids on his shoulders, breathless after hours spent trudging through rising waters and countless alleyways full of refugee seekers, Ronnie finally spied what appeared to be a safe haven illuminated by dozens of desperate headlights and filled with agonizing families searching for shelter from the ravaging floodwaters. Ronnie staggered forward while clutching both exhausted toddlers tightly underneath each arm. He hauled them outside of what looked like some kind of orphanage, where thankfully someone knowledgeable took charge without question or delay after hearing how valiantly Ronnie fought to save these two innocent lives. Ronnie asked for a change of clothes for the kids and tried to help them get dressed. He got them something to eat from the staff who were giving what scarce food they had gathered to the elderly people, kids, and the ones with critical conditions first, then the others. Tough times required tough management. The black man sat with the kids and tried to comfort them. Now that he had time to properly look at them, the twins were no older than 5 years old, a boy and a girl with hair the color of golden sun rays. The girl was shorter and clutched her brother's arm. I'm Ronnie, a fireman and your friend. I'll make sure nothing bad happens to you and help you find your parents. What's your name? David. Sarah, the girl answered shyly, hiding behind her brother. Don't worry, kids. You're safe now. I'll make sure nothing will hurt you, just like I did before, I promise, Ronnie stated in a warm tone to calm the kids. I need you to help me as I helped you, okay? He asked, hopeful that the kids would know the answer to his question. Okay, answered the boy, David. But how can we help you, Mr. Ronnie? We're so little, Sarah asked, an innocence which made the fireman chuckle good-heartedly. Tell me the names of your parents. Mom is Jenny, and Dad is Tony, Sarah replied. Anthony, David corrected. Turns out the parents were out working when the storm hit, and they called the kids to warn them not to go outside. When the water reached inside the house and their parents still hadn't come home yet, the kids went outside, and that's when Ronnie found them. Unfortunately, the kids didn't know anything more. They didn't know where they lived or where their parents worked, and they weren't in school yet, so the options to help find their family in a short notice were quite few. Once they were safe, Ronnie tried to find out who these children belonged to, but no one seemed to know anything about them or their parents' whereabouts. With no other option left, Ronnie decided to take care of them himself until their parents could be found or until they could be placed in a safe home somewhere else in the city. He took them back to his own home for the time being and provided them with food and shelter, while also trying his best to make sure they felt safe and secure during such an uncertain time for everyone involved. Unfortunately, things only got worse as time went on. Soon enough it became clear that there was no hope of finding their parents or any other family members who might be able to take care of them properly during this crisis situation. With a heavy heart, Ronnie realized that he would have to take these two twins away from Baltimore if they were ever going to have any chance at a better life elsewhere. He left to live with his aunt in the next city. Ronnie eventually left Baltimore with the twins toward an unknown destination, as many other refugees did at that dreary time, hoping that one of these days they'd find their way back into the secure arms of their loving parents. Just as he had found his way to them on wobbly feet that fateful night, he made sure to leave a note with everyone he knew in Baltimore that he was taking the kids with him to his aunt's house. He left his new address with everyone he knew in Baltimore so the parents of the twins could come find their kids. Ronnie cared for the kids with his aunt as if they were his own and provided them with the love, stability, and security that they needed during their childhoods. Soon enough, people of the new town stopped calling the twins lost or orphans. They called them Ronnie's kids, out of respect for what he did for them. 6 months had passed living with the kids before their parents were found. Ronnie was put in a tough situation and had to make a decision because the kids were in the age of going to school. Then his doorbell rang and the parents showed up. After a cheery reunion, the parents thanked Ronnie profusely for saving their twins and taking care of them. They explained that the husband was severely injured during the storm, and they moved him via helicopter to the next city. The mom kept trying to find the kids, and after the dad's condition was stable, they went back to Baltimore to search for their kids again. My wife was hardly any better than me. She was barely able to walk, but she kept asking anyone she saw about the kids, the dad shared. The kids left with their parents, and they took a piece of Ronnie's heart with them. We will never forget you, Uncle Ronnie, the girl told him as she gave him a hug. Come visit us, the boy shouted as he waved at him. Fast forward 27 years later, Ronnie was visiting some friends in the next town hospital when he received the shock of his life and also the best gift. The two twins, now grown-up adults, had paid off Ronnie's kindness by setting up a college fund in his name so that no matter how poor he was, all future generations of Ronnie's family would have access to higher education if they wished to pursue it. Stunned by this generous gesture, both twins never forgot about Ronnie. As it seemed when they saw him, they immediately recognized him. Uncle Ronnie, was Sarah's never-changed enthusiastic welcome when she saw him. Wait till David sees you, he'll cry his eyes out, Sarah said with the same mischievous tone she had all those years back. Ronnie felt like he was thrust back 27 years in the past when he first laid eyes on the shivering twins. Now they stood tall and proud before him, all smiles and healthy lamps that he couldn't feel any prouder of a deed in his life than saving these two and caring for them. They invited Ronnie to a celebration dinner at their house and made this a tradition that occurred every other week, which has become an important part of their lives till now. It was a time in which everyone came together to eat, share stories, and show gratitude for having each other in good times as well as bad ones over all these years. They also gave him a special gift, a framed photo of the three of them together on that fateful night 27 years ago when Ronnie saved their lives. Ronnie was overwhelmed with emotion at their gesture and thanked them profusely for remembering him all these years later. He said it was one of the best gifts he'd ever received and that it would always remind him of how much he meant to Sarah and David. Well friends, that's the end of this incredible story that we hope as always that it's been to your liking. If you liked it, give us a like, leave us your valuable comment, share on your social networks, subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell so that you're always notified when we have a new video, and in this way, you don't miss any of our stories for now. We only have to invite you to join us in the next one. If you like the story, surely the next video that's appearing on your screen will move you to. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and activate the notification bell so you won't miss any of our next videos.